Why, hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your hosting guide, Zollin Ironshield, and today is a RiseToWar guide. And they've done a big update since the 2.0, so in the next few days, just kind of little heads up for the rest of the, I should say, next few weeks to the next month or so. I'm going to be trying to put out a lot of guides once I'm also learned and gone through a lot of the learning process. I've already done many hours of kind of relearn a lot of stuff. As you all know, they've dumped a really big update all at once. Some of it is actually quite nice. Other things, like a couple things I was worried about, there are some things that I was worried about that I was correct on. But a lot of things are really fun. I'm actually starting to like the massive amount of where you can have, these formations and 4 commanders in the same group. I actually like some stuff they've redone with the items. Again, I'm going to have a lot of separate videos and guide videos going through a lot of these things, so I don't want to overwhelm you in one video, and no one wants to sit through a 2-hour video. I get that. I wouldn't myself, so why would you guys want to sit through that? But what we're going to do today, before you leave me, don't forget to like and subscribe if you are a Lord of the Rings or RiseToWar fan or any kind of Tolkien fan. We do much stuff on this playlist, I should say, many things. What we're going to do today is we are going to go through and look at some of the commander trees briefly and quickly. I want to talk about a few things about the commanders, okay? Some of the new things about how the trees work, okay? Now, right off the bat, I just want to say I'm a little disappointed because I did like the complexity of having a full tree on every commander. I would have preferred they kind of left that similar and updated the abilities to work with formations and then put them all in there, but that might have been a little too complex for everybody, like too much stuff going on, right? So I kind of they had to pick or choose. I get that. So let's just go through. Let me explain really. We'll use Gimli here because he's kind of my main character. Explain that they've broken it down into 4 things. And the nice thing is my little box down here no longer blocks that one down here. So that's kind of nice. Minor issue there, if you remember from my previous videos. But basically they took the, tree, the little extra blue ones, the 2 on each one, and they've kind of combined some, got rid of some, updated some into the main skill. So like Experienced Warrior, if you remember, it also gave us on the 5th something preparation, you got extra damage, and then the other one was Hunt Down, I believe, is what I remember for Experienced Warrior. Now Experienced Warrior is just 200 physical damage once to 2 formations, which is quite a lot of damage actually. Still very good. There's 4 formations now in teams, so I'm gonna have to talk about that and explain that in another video in depth. So let me just this is kind of important for you to know though, so let me just, before we, since a lot of people are new to this now, right, since the updates, let me just go to one army real quick and just show you what I'm talking about. So you see there we have 4 formations, okay? Gimli leads a formation, Dwalin I have leading, Dane, and Thorin, okay? So that's what it means by formation. So right, whenever you hear the word formation, it's one of the groupings, okay? And then I'm gonna go through and talk about it just a little bit here. I'll try to make it really simple and articulate it as best I can for you guys. So Experienced Warrior now does 200 physical damage once. Again, the rounds work the same way as you can see round 1. So there's some similarities there, right, with battle and combat. Once to 2 enemy formations. Cool. So if you put 5 points into this, it will buff this up. And then, here, let me reset it. So you can kind of see it's 20%. And then if I put 5 points in, all right, so we get to there. Now it allows me to have an extra bonus, and it says attack plus 6 upon dealing this damage up to 5 stacks. So, and that, I believe that is the attack of the commander, mind you, all right? Which so means you are kind of getting the hunt down buff a little bit. So see how they kind of combined it? And then if you put more on there, well, it says plus 6 attack, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's for the commander, even though it doesn't say commander. And then at the end here, when you put 10 points in, that gets to its max 200%, and now your commander gets a plus 5 attack. Now, one thing that's I have to tell you, since they've had this change, is you see right here, we now have damage, all right? We have HP for the commanders now, which is a really cool addition. I like that a lot. Command is basically helps protect your army and make them do more damage, and also lets you have more people in that formation. Up to, I believe, 2,000 is the amount of troops you can have in a formation at this time. And then the attack, that's the attack bonus we're talking about. Now, effects, abilities, and stuff, I'm debating on if I'm going to change some of my items or not. I think the updated items are stronger, but I will have a separate video talking about that. So anyway, now let's look at some of the other ones. Lockbearer. Defense of 3 enemy formations, down 1, so it kind of reduces the enemy formations. Defenses, that's cool. They now added a little more straightforward now. We have attack, defense for troops. So it's a little bit easier in that way. And then it says damage dealt to melee units, up 5%. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm almost thinking this one is actually might be attack for troops as well. I'm not sure. Since this one's just commander, I'm gonna have to look in the thing later. We'll have a video on that. When I go over Gimli, I'll have a thing talking about that in detail for you guys. Because I know I got a lot of Gimli fans out there, like myself. Damage dealt to melee units, and then commander again gets another 5 attacks. So that's pretty cool. So buffing up that commander attack there, okay? We got Durin's Blood. You remember it had Whirlwind and All-In. All-In was one of my favorite abilities. I loved how much damage you could do with that thing. But now he does 70% damage, or as you put points into it, it goes up a lot to 1 to 2 formations. So I'm assuming it's random. If it hits 1 or 2, it's a chance. But when you get up to 5, if you notice, we're getting really high damage now, 350% at 5 points in. And then it says in addition, skill damage dealt 10% more for 3 rounds. And I believe this is the first 3 rounds after you use this ability, I would assume, which is 2 rounds in. So keep that in mind. So any other things I use will do more damage. And commander attack plus 5 again. So you see they really did keep Gimli as a damage dealer, which makes me happy because that's how I like to build him. So that's kind of cool. And then we have Lord of the Glittering Caves. Deals 20 physical damage to 2 enemy formations, right? Healing effects received if you get to 5 points, negative 50% for those 2 rounds for those 2 formations. Kind of like, remember, Deep Wound was on one of these. And then target defense down if you put it to level 10. Remember, that was the other one, break defense. See how they combine them into the same ability? So that's cool. Now, one other thing that's really important, since we're talking about how they've redone the trees here, is the power of the bloodlines, okay? So this is very, very cool and very interesting. So as you can see here, we have 18 out of 50 influence points and skill points. So right now, influence points is obviously, I believe that is all my points I have in my character, right? The respect. Let's see, I have respect 11. I have yet to fully study on how the new respect stuff works. I've been working on it. So, leave it in the comments. But I have 18 right now, but you can actually put, if you don't have enough, let's say I full max this out. It is now 3, by the way, 3 points for every point you put in anything. It's a little more challenging to have the full points now with that. But let's say I'll do the rest into this one. Oh man, I have 2 left over. Well, guess what? I could put it into Bloodline, and it'll actually increase this. And of course, for him, elves and dwarves, attack and defense plus 10 for units of the, what they've mentioned, race in the commander's formation. So only in his formation. That does not buff the other 3 formations, okay? Keep that in mind. But I just think that's pretty cool. I like that little buff. Now, if you look over here, we look at Dane, for example, now. You notice he has a very similar one, too. And if you look at his bloodline, he's 21 out of 50. I believe that's because he is a higher respect automatically commander. So skill points. Oh, I have skill points in it. Silly me. No, it's still 18. Starts at 18. And if you notice, my respect for this commander is still 11, like Gimli. So it does have something to do with the actual respect points still. We'll have a whole separate video on respect. It's going to get too confusing. But if we just look through his a little bit, again, we're not going to go over every commander's tree because that would be a lot. I'll break it up into different videos, I believe. We'll try to do cover the different trait trees as I teach about a commander, and maybe group formations, like 4 commanders. I'm going to try to break it up like that, because now that we have groups of 4 commanders, I can make this is a great commander formation. This commander, this commander, this commander, this commander, and we could talk about it, right? So technically, if you take all 4 commanders into account, now you have the bonus of having, all 4 of these abilities times 4, right? So that's, 16, right? Yep. Make sure we do the math right. Not to mention the bloodlines, right? So again, that's kind of cool, the bloodlines here. And again, let's see what happens if we just pump this thing all the way to 50. Let's see how much attack and defense we could get for dwarves. If you notice, for Gimli, you could also buff elves in a formation. With Durin, it's just dwarves, which makes sense. So if I put all of my points into this, I could have attack and defense 25, right? For the aforementioned race. Oh, what a word. In the commander's formation. I wouldn't probably recommend that. I think you just put in the extra points you have, okay? I would just recommend you do the ones Again, these are the same. Ironfoot's obviously different. Durin's Blood's the same, is the Gimli same ability. Deals physical damage to one formation. There's a chance to stun that target. In addition, the target cannot recover HP at level 10. So cool. Remember, he had similar things in the other two that were hooked to it. Lord of the Iron Hills, attack of small units in 3 allied formations. All right, so this is pretty cool. Now Dane can really help other formations. So small units, kind of talk about that. This is an updated thing, okay? So if we go into looking at conscripting dwarves, they've redone the conscripting thing, and we look at dwarves, I believe they are counted as more small units, right? I'm trying to find where they show that. The second race of, let's see, prioritizes enemy melee units. We know that. I wonder where they, you guys know where they show that? And leave a comment if you know. Of course, I'll probably find it right now. But I'm trying to remember where they actually show. See, this is kind of talking about it right here. Damage dealt. The formation commander determines the relationship according to the physical soldiers, which is kind of cool. All right. I thought that was, oh, maybe it's, that's a tier, that's just showing tier 3 unit. Oh, small units. Yeah, it says it up there. All right, well, there you go. See, small units, dwarves. So we can actually go in here and you can actually say small, medium, large. Let's see if we have any large units. Do I not have any large? Oh, I got to take off dwarf, the filters. They've updated the filters like I wanted. So there we go. Those are my only large units I have. I have fell beasts and I have great beasts, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, so then if we put on just medium filter here, we have cavalry, right? Makes sense. Half trolls, goat riders, mercenaries, that kind of stuff, right? These are the ones I have. There's more, obviously. Small units are basically infantry units, okay? Let's just put it that way. Oathbreakers, guardians, masters, halberds, Dunling warriors, right? Marksmen, it's all the on foot troops, pretty much, is small units, which is a very interesting thing. There's a whole thing now about how someone showed something. I'll have to do that in a more detailed, maybe about units later video, but that, you know, small units counter large units. Large units are good against medium, medium are good against small. Something like that. It's like a little like rock, paper, scissors going on. Yeah, anyway. Kind of cool. So I think that's about what I wanted to cover in this video. I didn't want to make this too long. I just wanted to kind of give you guys the rundown of specifically on the new tree system, okay? So again, one thing you want to look at and remember with these while you're picking your units and trying to decide which ones you want and all of that kind of stuff is that you want to think about what do they help? Is it a damage dealing commander? Is it helping other people? This Lord of the Iron Hills, that's pretty darn cool. Attack of small units in 3 allied formations. So I think it has to say 4 to be all of them, but at least basically if you had 2 other formations and his own, all with dwarves, they would all get this buff, okay? And then I'm assuming if the first one says that, level 5 and 10 will also add it to those. So again, he is awesome to have with a dwarf group, right? A dwarf group. So really, really awesome. And then King Under the Mountain, he deals physical damage once to 3 enemy formations. What a boss. He just blows away the whole enemy team. In addition, the physical damage dealt by commanders ignore 10%. Commander ignores 10% of the defenses, level 5. Next one, instance of damage with 10%. So some buffs there. But yeah, he's pretty awesome. He's a pretty awesome commander there. And yeah, I'm going to put that into that. And then I have 3 more points, so I think I'll just go ahead and put them into Bloodline for extra damage. Again, it's a little more simple to do each commander, but then you have to think about setting up your full formations, right? And then doing sweep attacks, right? And of course, don't forget to, there's my setup for this group, all right? Pretty cool, pretty cool. But anyway, we're just going to end it there, because I would not want to confuse people for these videos. I'm going to go into more depth on every single commander in the future, and as I learn, and as you guys are learning, I will give you more and more updated videos on this stuff. Because one thing I really don't like is ever giving you guys information that might confuse you on something. So I try really careful to make sure I'm honest about, well, I haven't fully gone over this part yet, or something like that. But I have spent about 6 hours already studying this stuff in the game, so I can get you guys more guide videos. So I'm planning to make a couple more too. Thanks so much. Thank you to my wonderful Patrons for their support, and also added my Iron Guard. I just have to update this Andrew, thank you so much for your support. That'll be updated in the next video. And I'll see you all in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. Kuzai menu. Up there. Subscribe button. Next episode. Over there's Closer Tale. Check them out. Stay happy, my friends.